Gold Squid TV. So, according to reports, Kemba Walker wants out of Boston, which I'm not really surprised. But the reasoning, I'm definitely not surprised with, because a fellow Husky and former UConn Husky and NBA legend Ray Allen went to something similar with Danny Ainge. Now, this is not an indictment on the Celtics organization as currently. This is an indictment on Danny Ainge's regime. All right. Kemba Walker apparently was very upset with Danny Ainge for trying to trade him after last year for Drew Holiday and a few other teams during the off season due to his knee problems. You've heard reports that GMs were upset with Danny for trying to ship Kemba Walker with a bad leg on their teams for a name or two, whether it be Drew Holiday or others, right? According to reports, Ainge and Kemba Walker had a really bad relationship this year, and Kemba felt like he wasn't wanted there anymore. And he just feels, apparently, according to his team, which I'm assuming are the people that handle his business, he would like a new start. And I'm sure the Boston Celtics would also like a new start. So I think Kemba, Brad Stevens, and the Celtics organization are on to a good start because they both know they want a new start. So I think we could officially say goodbye to Kemba as a Boston Celtic. He will not be back next year. After the comments that were made by his people, people through reports, it's not looking good for Kemba to stay as in the Boston Celtics team. As a matter of fact, it's not good. It's like he's not coming back. So I think this works well for the Celtics and it works well for Kemba. Now, the challenge is going to be finding a team that will take his contract and a couple other guys plus draft picks. Since his contract's so bad, considering that he's not 100% healthy, teams are going to take the contract, but they're going to want more in return. They're going to want draft picks and maybe a couple players. So look for Brad to kind of finagle a deal to where Kemba, a few players, and some draft picks go on the deal. Don't worry, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are safe. But I think everybody else in that squad, maybe a Romeo Langford, fringe-worthy guy, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, Trey Waters, are probably going to be part of the deal, much like a Javonte Green was in the Daniel Tice deal. Just extra players to kind of make up for the money, to make the money work, draft picks to make the money work. You're not going to get a guy or guys that are equal value to Kemba, but you're going to find guys. You're probably going to get guys that are probably more valuable to our team based on going forward. So I'm just going to make a projected trade here if I may. My man's let me know about this kind of fella. Maybe we can go to trade him to Chicago and get Corey White and Lauri Markkanen in the deal, but he doesn't know if the money will match up. I believe the money will match up with Markkanen's contract. I just don't know if Corey White would be someone Chicago to want a deal. I would be okay with getting Lauri Markkanen. He's been wanting out of Chicago since he signed the deal. He's been coming off the bench for them. I think he's a much better player than just being a side shooter and stuff like that. So, be interesting. He has a relationship with Scal. Not that means anything, but Scal's close to the Celtics organization, so I kind of wonder if that deal would make sense. I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to ship Kemba. If I had to put my gut feeling though, don't be surprised if Kemba gets shipped to like one of those really bad teams that really kind of just need to get, like an Oklahoma City who's just looking to just eat up contracts so they can get rid of him. Maybe Kemba for Horford because they don't want Horford. They're either going to buy Horford out. They both have the same amount of time left on their deals. Maybe you trade Al Horford to OKC to Boston for Kemba Walker and maybe a couple of draft picks. I mean, maybe Grant Williams, though Grant Williams in that deal, or Romeo Langford. Um, Whatever happens, man, I want to salute personally. I want to salute Kemba, and I'm glad that he wants to go. I think those signings that Danny made were bad signings, looking in hindsight. He overpaid for Gordon Hayward. He overpaid for Kemba Walker. Both those guys were injury prone. It looks like the only one he made it was kind of right on was Al Horford. Unfortunately, Al ended up leaving after his third year. So, Brad is under a new regime. Brad's going to be running things a little different. I think Brad's going to look to work on depth on the team versus where Danny didn't really care about team depth. I think Brad's going to work on probably getting more of an experienced bench and getting the right players on the team. So the mystery is going to be Marcus Smart. Are they going to trade Marcus? Are they going to keep Marcus and re-sign him to an extension before he ends up running into free agency? You don't want to lose Marcus for nothing. Or are you going to trade Marcus for like a Terry Rozier because they both have 1 year left on their deals? And I personally wouldn't make that deal. I think it works for both teams. I'm not saying that I'm in Brad's shoes, but if I'm going to trade Smart, I would trade Smart for Terry. Smart's a shooter. He's a hard-nosed guy. Charlotte would love him. I would love to take back in that deal Terry Rozier, straight up. I think just that swap, they both got 1 year left on their deals. I would take Terry. I'd take Terry right back. I think he was meant to be a Celtic, and I think that the way he plays fits what we stand for as a Celtics franchise. He has a little attitude. He's not afraid of anything. He can be a little streaky shooting-wise, but I would say he was a lot more valuable for us than Marcus was. I think Marcus makes a lot of great plays defensively, but offensively, he just has too many haywire moments, and I just think that Terry would be a little bit less haywire than he would. And Terry is a couple years younger than Marcus, so I kind of like keeping Terry. I like getting Terry back in Boston. I like getting Horford back in Boston, and then building veterans around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Make it known that those guys are the guys. Get the right coach in a proper system and a pecking order. Brad needs to do, he'll do it. I hope he does the right thing. As I said, Becky Hammond, Kara Lawson, Chauncey Billups, those guys are out there. Meantime, see what we're going to do. But Kemba's gone. Kemba's good is gone. I mean, Brad, I heard reports last week, and before this report came out, I heard that last week the Celtics were going to be looking to move on from him. And I don't think that's a Brad decision. I think that's a Wick decision. Wick Grossbeck is the owner of the team. And although I think he has a high respect for Kemba, I think he knows that piece doesn't fit. And I think that he's going to want to, I think this is his decision. I don't think this is a Brad decision. Although I do think Brad, also probably believes it's time for Kemba to go. I think Kemba knows it's time to go. Brad knows it's time for him to go. The Celtics organization knows it's time for him to go. Let all parties involved come to a mutual agreement and try to figure out what they're going to do. Goat Squad TV, leave your comments down below. What do you think happens? With Kemba being gone, who do you think is going to replace him? Or what do you think the Celtics direction is going to go from here? And no, I want to shut down, one last thing. I want to shut down these rumors. Dame Lillard is not coming to the Boston Celtics. So don't get your hopes up. We're not trading Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard. I love Lillard. But forwards, 2 and 3s win in this league. Small forwards and shooting guards win in the league. Point guards are great if they're shooters, but for the most part, those guys are proven they're first-round outs. As much as I love Damian Lillard, and he's an incredible talent, the first-round out every year. So, outside of a couple conference finals appearances. So, don't look for the Celtics to go and try to make a splash for that. That's $200. you guys gotta understand too. I don't think we can even pull that deal off, even with Jalen, because we would have to literally trade like half the team to get Damian. You understand that Damian Lillard's contract is $262 million. He's making A-Rod money right now, just off the franchise. Portland gave him the biggest deal in NBA history at the time. I mean, it might be someone with a bigger deal now, but 2 years ago when he signed the deal, he signed the extension. They gave him a huge deal. He signed it. He did a Giannis move. Giannis also got 260. So, man, like the Celtics aren't going to take that type of contract. He's only trying to get off of Kemba. You don't know if Damian Lillard might get hurt and start playing not up to his par, and then he doesn't. Ends up leaving in free agency, just like or demanding a trade at some point. So, I don't see the short term versus the long term game doesn't make sense for them to trade Jalen for Damian Lillard. I don't think that's happening. I think they're going to wait for Bradley Beal to be a free agent after this season coming up. Not this one, but the next one. They'll get Bradley Beal, sign him. They'll have a little less space. They'll have some extra space to sign him. And you'll have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Bradley Beal playing together. And it works because Bradley Beal will be more like that Ray Allen type for them. He's more of a vet, but he's a passer too. People don't think that Bradley Beal can pass the ball, pass the rock. I think at this point in his career, Bradley just wants to win. I think he would take a back seat in that situation. Is he the great defender? No, neither was Ray Allen. But we'll see what happens, man. I think it's damn near inevitable that Bradley Beal will be in a Celtics uniform. It just isn't going to be because Jaylen Brown's gone. It's not going to be because Jaylen Brown's gone. Just put it that way. Jaylen Brown will be a Celtic. And so will Tatum and most likely Bradley Beal at some point. But I don't think that it makes sense for us to trade for Bradley. I don't think it makes us even less sense to trade for Damian Lillard. Celtics fans just got to be patient. Got to be patient. Got new management now. Be patient. You don't need to make some crazy deal like that and then end up being aged out by like 4 or 5 years later and then Tatum leaves. So, Gold Squad TV, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below.